All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to another TFFL webcast. So it's our first or our second of 2019, but really we're firmly into the 2019 off season now. The NFL free agency period has shaken things up a little bit. As Bill just told us, I think we are only 17 days away, Bill.
Pretty close. 2 weeks. Yeah. Thursday of 15 days. Yeah.
15 days away from the NFL draft. We'll talk about rookies later in the show here. We just had a TFFL trade, so things are happening. Let me introduce our panel, and then we'll get started here. Where shall I start? How about Terry, our commissioner? Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Hank, our IT director.
Good to see everyone. Happy to be here.
Chief, our former commissioner.
It's good to see you all again.
Wearing a Syracuse sweatshirt, it appears. Nice.
Sure.
Berto, welcome.
Stick, good to be back. Also wearing a Syracuse sweatshirt.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And our special guest tonight, Thornburg, wearing a Maryland bar fleece.
Yes, it's a crab eating sweater. That's what I've been told it is. And by the way, I was mistaken. It's 3 weeks from Thursday, so for the draft. 3 weeks, not 2 weeks. 3 weeks.
All right. Hey, Berto wanted me to bring up the TFBA. For those of you keeping score at home out there, it is Terry's white chocolate franchise.
WC.
White chocolate against the Alien Attack for the 2018-2019 TFBA title. A 10-day matchup on day 3 right now, and Terry is absolutely crushing me. And is riding some crazy 16-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Terry looks unstoppable in that league right now.
Impressive stuff. Good work, Terry.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll see. We still have, as I said,
there's still seven days left and lots of missed games. So.
Yeah. Lots of time to catch up, or it could just turn into a 600-point blowout.
Don't get lazy on the waivers. Execute all those
Stick,
waivers.
You did just complete the greatest comeback in the history of
that's way
the
too much
TFBA.
basketball time.
Grind it out, Stick. Grind it out. Grind it out.
All right. Let's get back to the TFFL. Let's give you guys a trivia question to start noodling on for the next 45 minutes or so. I think this is a new question. I don't think I've ever asked this. We've talked plenty about the franchises that do not have a packed bowl title, and more than one of them are on this webcast. But I went looking for franchises that have never won our Marley Trophy, our regular season title, and there are 2 of them. 2 franchises that have never had the best regular season record in any TFFL season. Name those 2 franchises. I'll give you 3 points for each correct answer. All right, let's kick things off. We don't have standings to show you, but let's have Terry refresh everybody's memory of the TFFL draft order, because we'll be talking a little bit about the rookies coming in the NFL draft and starting to get into off-season strategy and draft planning. So set us up there.
All right. Well, we, as Bill said, or Chief said, we do have most of the first half of the first round all here, but our guest tonight, Bill Thornburg of the Beavers, has the number 1 pick. Chief is at number 2. Berto, number 3. You sense a theme here. Hank is at 4. At number 5, the Amsterdam Packers are picking via trade with the Aliens. 6 are the Mongols. 7, the Devils. 8, the Ampac with their second pick in the first round. 9, Rich. 10, the Boba Fats. 11 is Berto again via trade with the Sens. And 12 is Hank with his second first-round pick via trade with Michael. And that should do it. The Hormel Hams don't have a pick in the first round. I think they're the only team.
Well, there should be 3 of them: aliens,
and yeah, you're right. 3
and
of
the senators, aliens, senators, and hams.
them. Yeah.
So, what was the trivia question?
Name the 2 TFFL franchises that have never won our Marley Trophy for best regular season record.
Thank you.
Chief's scribbling quickly. All right. Hey, a reminder, Terry, you just sent around a few days ago the updated essential documents.
Yes.
Speaking of the draft order, everybody should check that out.
Always a good idea to check out the accuracy of the essential document.
And that is updated with the Lamar Miller trade, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, you can start planning your draft strategy. Let's also start seeing more trades. Use the essential document to help you do that.
Yes.
All right, Terry. While you've got the floor here, why don't you take over the commissioner's corner and give us any key updates, reminders, action?
All right. Well, just start off saying we're locked into Myrtle Beach again this year. Got I forget the name of it. You can help me out, but the same house as last year.
Wicker Cottage, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Wicker Cottage.
Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful.
So I feel good that got done, taken care of a lot earlier this year. We're in the middle of the rules process. Bill's done a fine job with that. We have, I believe, 5 proposals to vote on. I like the idea of forming a committee on the ever contentious FAIR deal. So we'll see how that goes. And then you ask if there's any big initiatives ahead in year 2 of the Rodgers reign, and the short answer is no.
You're going to keep the peace, right, Terry?
I am going to keep the peace. I'm going to try to not walk into a bad decision like I did when Stick asked me a question last year and just didn't foresee the issues it would cause. But yeah, let's keep the peace. Let's all get along, and let's have the Mongols shock the world. That's year 2.
Hey, do we owe Berto any money anytime soon?
We do owe Berto money. He said in his last email that he would table that for later. So, Berto, whenever you're ready, send the email and we'll get you your funds.
We'll just wait until the whole thing is paid and get a little closer. I put down half, but we can sort all that out later.
Okay.
So just easier when we have the the full amount. We know.
Right.
That's one thing we should discuss. If people are coming less days or so.
Okay.
So maybe you and I will talk about that all, Terry.
Okay.
All right. Housekeeping out of the way. Let's start talking football. I mentioned we had a TFFL trade, a not insignificant one recently. 2 members of our panel. Let me make sure I get this right. Lamar Miller going from the Beavers to the Giant Killers. 2nd-round pick, and wide receiver James Washington coming back to the Beavers.
2020 picks.
2020 picks.
Yeah,
yes.
2020, and I got a 5th back. I don't know if you said that.
Okay, good. And I did not know they were 2020. Bill, I'm guessing that James Washington's just a flyer. You don't really have plans for him, but why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the big part was the 2nd-round pick, except for looking at someone's crotch there. I wanted to get some value for somebody that I didn't think I would actually protect anyway, and but getting James Washington back was nice. I think he can, he could be somebody in the future, but we always try to. We sometimes we're always a half a year late or a half a year early on somebody. So it was nice adding them. But Stick, you were right. I mean, Chris Godwin is probably going to be the keeper that we take in that spot. But just getting another pick in the evaluation, which means we have an extra second and another third in 2020.
Nice work.
Yeah. And just a quick aside, I wrote this down and meant to say it earlier, but the Beavers
and that could be an early second. Sorry.
The Beavers have 4 picks in the top 25 in the 2019 draft. So
or it could be a late second round pick.
No.
It could be.
No.
But
If you're
therefore,
trading
the
for
Beavers
Lamar
have-
Miller to get you to be a late pick, that's not what you're doing. That's not done.
the Beavers have 4 picks in the top 25 this coming draft.
In this coming draft.
And then
Including number 1.
That pick is 2020 though.
and then an extra second and a third in 2020 as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, Beavers.
And as we'll get to in just a moment, I think you can arguably forecast the 2020 draft to be better from a fantasy standpoint than the 2019 draft. Right. All right.
Except
Hey,
for the number 1 pick.
Chief, you're back. Welcome. And I'd like to get your quick take on the Lamar Miller trade, in part because you just acknowledged
You just saw it.
you just saw it, so you've got a fresh take on this, perhaps.
I just found out about it today. Yeah. My thoughts are honestly, who
I
cares?
can't hear Chief.
Berto, you're gonna. Yeah, there you go. All right.
I'm trying to find someplace to put the tablet here. Apparently, the basement wasn't going to hold my connection. No, I mean, I thought it was. I mean, if you're Berto, why not make that trade? You need something. You need something more than what you have.
Yep.
Again, it's a timing question for me. Could have waited a little closer to the draft. Maybe he would have had more options. I don't know. Maybe he would have had fewer. But I think it was a good trade for him. Lamar Miller, as we speak, is still a starting running back in Houston. I was a little surprised that Thorny traded him. However, a second-round pick, especially as high as Berto is drafting, is a nice asset to have. So, yeah, I was fine with it.
All right. So, Berto, I mean, I think the big question is why jump so early on? Are you a big fan of Lamar Miller? Just get Nancy? And he leaves.
Berto is really good at picking up pieces at times when, with guys. I mean, I think we look at Houston's backfield and say, Lamar Miller's got competition, at least from Donta Foreman. He's been good. He's probably closer to the end of his career than the beginning, but I think he's definitely a guy that could score some points and be valuable for Berto. So nice work, but Thornburg, stop trading with Berto. Just stop it. And, the second round pick could be very valuable. It could be if Miller is running out of gas, but I don't like Berto getting assets. And
I'm saying the second round pick when Berto is picking, second or third in the first round. That's, then I'm getting the second or third pick in the second round.
I hope you're right. I guess I am.
And who is going to give me more? Was anybody getting me more?
No. You did great.
No, you did fine if you were convinced you needed to trade him. I guess I just questioned that. I
got 3 other running backs plus another one coming at number 1 pick. So
great, but still, that's wonderful. In the TFFL, you can never have enough running backs ever.
I'm not keeping 4 running backs.
Great, good for you.
One of them being Lamar Miller.
Hey,
when one goes in training camp, you're going to wish you had him.
Too much on Lamar Miller now. Too much. However, I still want to get my question answered from Berto. Why did you jump so soon on this as opposed to waiting and maybe having other options to use that second round pick on?
There's not There's not later options to get a starting running back for a second round pick in not the current draft, but 2 years from now. Look, this guy had games last year of 162 yards, 133 yards, 103 yards, 98 yards. He had a 4.6 rushing average. Houston didn't pick up Le'Veon. They didn't pick up Coleman. They didn't pick up Jordan Howard. The coaching staff is committed and come out and said that he's a 3-down back. So should be a good offense. So why not? It'd be good if this guy got in the end zone a little bit more, but
Right.
If he's healthy and he's running, he's gonna put up yards, and hopefully that's going to translate into more touchdowns. But so for a second round pick in 2020, I think it's value, and why not do it now? I may not be able to get that value later.
Yep. Okay, enough on Lamar Miller. But hey, kudos for kickstarting the trading season. Hopefully, we'll see more of these to come. Bill, why don't you take over here? We're gonna hit a couple topics with you. First, as briefly as possible. I don't want to spend a long time on the rules. We've talked about them on email, but the ballot is out there. We don't have a lot of proposals. So why don't you go through them real quick? We'll let Hank in particular tell us why we should all vote no on them. And if anybody wants to have a little mini debate, we can try that here.
Sure. We have 5 proposals right now. One is Michael Giovenco's proposal to change the tiebreaker rules for playoff qualifications. And if anybody really wants to see through it, they probably should read it. But it's more about having total points be the number one tiebreaker, moved up in priority. So you can all look at exactly. I've posted it a couple times on the actual tiebreaker thing, and read through it yourself and try to decide. But it's not a catastrophic change. Stick has proposed that we eliminate field goals of 60 yards being worth more than 5 points. So, like a 50 used to be worth 5, a 60 was worth, I apologize, was it worth 10 or 9 or something like
7 points? Yeah.
7, yeah. So that's what he's basically asking. Chief said that head-to-head should be in the playoffs, that the head-to-head home field advantage was moved from 3 points to 2.5 points, which seems reasonable. Just we eliminated any kind of tiebreaker stuff, and we have there's
no
less of
reserve
us
lineups.
Yeah, reserve lineups makes it easier on everything. So, and then Michael got back to me with 2 more proposals. Excuse me while I look at them. Here we go. This was something that was proposed in 2017 that made 5 votes. And obviously you can't vote on something the same year again. So it was tabled. Michael's proposing it. I proposed it back in 2017. He's proposing it now. And that's to make, to have the ability to have 2 flex positions. So you go running back, flex, wide receiver. You can have 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers in that position. It's one of the most reasonable things that we've been working on, and it gains like a vote or loses a vote. I think we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, but it does allow for the best players to get on the field. So I apologize. I was more of an advocate there, but it is a good thing to look at.
Hank?
The last thing is the elimination. This is again by Michael Giovenco. Elimination of 10-point touchdowns on any kind of throwing thing by a running back or by a wide receiver, by a tight end or something. One of those weird things where a kicker throws for a touchdown and you get 10 points. It should only be worth 6 points. So I think those are all well explained in the emails, but I will again put those together in a formal document so everybody can look at them, and I'll make a match to whatever the documents are in the rule book. What's that?
A ballot, I believe is.
Well, do you think people would rather have it in an email or rather in an attachment?
All right. Hank, I know you've got some thoughts.
I'm sorry, I'm chomping a little bit. Let me take these. Let me try to be positive. All right, to begin with.
And I'm only listing what's available. I'm not. You don't have to debate with me.
I'm not debating. I'm not debating.
I like negative, Phil. Let's hear negative.
Oh, you're going to get negative, Phil. But wait, first we got positive, Phil. I think the idea of removing the 10-point gimmick play is not the last one Thornburg mentioned is not a bad idea at all. And I think the idea of reducing the points on the super long field goals is not a bad idea at all. Let's talk about that. Are we saying 60 is now worth 5 and 50-yarders are not?
50
or are we just saying
50 you get the most points. Everything beyond 50 is the same.
Okay. And that I think that's a fine rule. All right, now you're going to get negative fun. we're gonna start with the one that's not on the proposal, which is Thorny's. What the 2 flex positions? Listen, I'm gonna dig in heels, and we'll be the last person in the league standing on this one. We built this league on the idea that you start 3 running backs. We already made an accommodation for that several years back by allowing a tight end to sit in for one of those running backs. If we go even further to now say, no need to ever have 3 running backs, just have 2, man, now we're an ESPN week-to-week league, and that's a bunch of crap. That is not how we should run this league.
It's a gateway drug.
Running backs, okay? There we go. And as far as the scoring stuff and all the head-to-head crap, who cares? Whatever. That's deck chair stuff. But, Chief, I like the 2.5-point thing on the playoffs. That's a really good idea.
That's a good idea. That's 22 years too late. How did we not come up with that?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Chief. So I think, hey, you get off my lawn, yes. I'm going to vote yes, I think, on 3 of the proposals. So suck it, Thorny.
Is 3 more yes votes than I think Hank has ever provided.
Potentially. These may be the first yes votes I've offered in a decade.
All right. Anybody else with thoughts on the rules?
Nah.
Bill, yeah, nice, efficient process this year. So what exactly is the?
Oh, wait. We also, I apologize if I might interject. We also have for the first time, a commission designed to fix the IR snafu, which I think I think we've blown it up. Everybody was proposing a lot of solutions, and the best way to do it, have 3 people say, okay, this is really easy. So we're going to have that fixed pretty fast.
So that'll be for the coming season.
It'll be before June 1st.
Wow. Okay. If you can pull that off, yeah, very.
And just so I understand, the committee is going to.
You don't need to know. You don't need to know. It's a secret report, sort of. We're to special counsels and
just like Trump. Don't show people what we spend $32 million developing.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this over here. Look at this over here.
Exactly. You get it. You're learning the game. But no. Are we going to get a proposal as to this is a new idea, the way to do it?
Only certain people have to see whatever has to happen. So we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. Incredible.
I reject all Trump-osis that you may be trying to shovel. So take that crap somewhere else.
All right. This could go sideways.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Bill's other area of expertise. The NFL draft is coming up. Again, Bill's a little unsure how many days away it is, but nonetheless. Bill, you previously gave us a very pessimistic view of this draft from a fantasy perspective. Things have changed a little bit since then. Josh Jacobs has emerged as a potential stud running back, maybe for the Beavers at number 1 overall. I think, as Hank already mentioned, 2 or 3 wide receivers stand out as potential difference makers, guys who could be TFFL first-round picks in addition to being NFL first-round picks. Let me give you a couple questions I want to hopefully have you answer, and then you can tell us where this draft class stands in general. Kyler Murray is another guy who has emerged since we last talked with you. He's likely to be the number 1 overall pick. What is his upside? Is he a potential TFFL first rounder? We've seen a few quarterbacks go that high in years past. And then for the group, you guys all have my projected keeper lists. Once Bill outlines just how many first round rookie talents there are, I'm looking for you guys to tell me, is this a strong veteran group of guys who would be available in the draft to make up for the lack of rookies? Bill, take it away.
Sure. Yeah. For your answer about the quarterback question, there is not. What? Oh, doggy. There is no quarterback here that's worthy, unless you're willing to take a flyer on somebody who's might be starting for a bad team. Again, even with the guys of last year, we didn't draft anybody. But although 2 or 3 of them might turn out to be fantasy type quarterbacks, there's nobody there. So that'll wait till the later rounds. As far as if you'd like me to to sort of break down the, running backs straight and wide receivers. You've got 3 running backs who basically are the only guys who can do 3 downs. Miles Sanders from Penn State, David Montgomery from Iowa State, and Josh Jacobs from Alabama. If I go all the way back through like the top 15 different running backs, and each one of them has something that makes them not a 3-down back. Now, there might be a scat. I mean, nobody knew Alvin Kamara was – everybody thought Alvin Kamara was going to be a 3rd-round back. But what I'm saying is what they do in the college level, they're only those 3 backs. And then, again, that is Miles Sanders from Penn State, who played well. There's some questions. I saw some questions about fumbles, which I didn't see it that much. There was one that I remembered watching him have a bad fumble, but I didn't think it was a problem. Dave Montgomery, again – a lot of yardage, but a lot of miles. And I think Josh Jacobs, basically the one factor that he has that everybody loves is he only has 251 carries. I mean, you look past that and you're looking at a guy that NFL guys would like to have had he not played high school and gone into a developmental program and then somehow came out without any injuries or anything. So I think that's the top 3. Beyond that, you've got some bruisers, you've got some scat backs. I mean, the one guy who might evolve, and I'm going to take a flyer pick on the one guy is excuse me as I scroll a bit here, is Elijah Holyfield from Georgia, the son of Evander Holyfield. He might be this sort of like a I don't know, just a bruiser back that get out of my way kind of guy that people would like. So that's it. It's not a deep class. When we get to wide receivers, though, it's not even it's all shallow. There's nothing that jumps out right now.
So what are the top 5 picks in order then? How will it go down?
The running back, I gave you the top 3 picks. There's nothing beyond 3. You've got 20 guys beyond that who all play the same thing. Someone's going to have a hard-on for.
I saw, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay just put out their 2-round mock drafts today. And I was surprised to see Miles Sanders' 2nd-round projection.
Like I said, you're going to take a 3-down back in the first 2 rounds. After that, if you want a grinder, fine. If you want a wide receiver back, you're not going to wait. You can take that. There's a plethora of those guys way out there. You're going to see 3 backs go in the first 2 rounds, and then you're going to see a gap of about a round and a half.
Okay, so TFFL draft, as Bordeaux's asked.
TFFL draft, you're going to see the same thing. Those 3 backs are going to go either 1, 2, 3 or 1, 3, 5 or 1 whatever in the first 5 picks.
How high do you see some of those rookie receivers, Metcalf, Marquise Brown? Are they difference makers you can take in the first 6?
I don't see any of these wide receivers having impact unless somebody thinks of them purely in like a dynasty format. I mean, if somebody wants to take a flyer on the DJ Metcalf, the guy who's Terrell Owens 4.33 with 6'3" size and 235 or whatever, or Marquise Brown, who happens to be the cousin of Antonio, or nephew, a cousin of Antonio Brown. The only guy that I would give some actual credit to, and I actually saw him play on some late games, was N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State. He would be, I mean, again, we don't know where they set up, where they get drafted by, but N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State has the most complete package of all of it. So there you go. I ranted.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you don't expect Metcalf to be a TFFL first rounder in the 6 to 8 range.
No. Well, anybody who does is going to spend at least a year and a half waiting for someone to be able to catch the football, or learn a route tree, or make a cut, or beat a there could be a 5'9", 195 back just holding his arms down, and he's not going to be able to get off the line. he's not a wide receiver. He's a athlete who they, we'll see. But I have no faith in the entire offensive draft this year, other than the top 3 running backs.
So Thornburg is basically saying none of us need to pay attention to anything until training camp, because I'll guarantee you, Thornburg, as we sit here today in April, that when we do this again, 3 weeks before the draft in September.
This is 3 weeks. Oh, okay.
No, the NFL draft. No, I'm talking our draft.
Yes, it changes everything.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. But I think
so. I'm giving you my impressions now.
If we go back and look at the previous several TFL drafts, the number of rookies taken, I'm guessing, is over 6 in the first 12 picks. I'm guessing it's more like 7 or 8 rookies go early across positions. I'll bet that happens again this year. And so to think there's only going to be 3, especially when you look at Stick's projected keeper list and realize the flotsam of veterans that's out there, I think you're crazy.
Then the only I would say that the only value in the first round is picks 1 through 4. I would put N'Keal Harris in there. That would be it.
Well, it's kind of funny when you watch experts do the drafts. And they say, oh, well, there's 17 guys we have graded as a first rounder. Right? There's 32 picks in the first round by definition.
Right.
So we are going to have 12 first-round TFL picks. I think a couple of years ago we had 11 rookies go. I think we had 11 rookie running backs or 10 and a tight end go in the first 12 picks. So, desperate times, desperate measures, 3 running backs, all that other thing. So, whether you think they're worthy of a first-round pick or not, like Phil said, rookies are going to fill up that first round. They go to rookie running backs.
Yeah, Damian Harris will be a first-round pick in the TFFL and all.
Who's the second Alabama running back? He'll be in the first round.
Damian Harris.
Yeah, Damian Harris.
Okay.
He's a sledgehammer.
But your point is still valid. There may be 6 or 9 or 11 rookie running backs taken. Bill's point is only 3 of them are really worth getting excited about. And, we'll take his word for that for now. Any other thoughts, guys, on say Kyler Murray? I was again a little surprised to hear Bill downplay his fantasy.
It's good to be in the top 3.
Yeah, here's
I feel better about that now.
Here's a scouting report on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray comes out last year. He's playing baseball right now.
That's true.
Period. He'd be like the 7th rated quarterback coming into last year's draft.
Yep.
Well, I don't have a scouting report on Kyler Murray, but I do have a firsthand account from Bob Vaughn, who is dead set against the Cardinals picking Kyler Murray at 1, and it's gonna eat him up. But he's anti Kyler Murray.
Bob Vaughn, be prepared for Kyler Murray mania and some drama in the Josh Rosen trade, because every team knows they got to dump him.
Yeah.
So they're going to trade him for a bag of used pucks.
After trading 3 picks to get him last year.
And used pucks are worth less than used baseballs or used football.
Especially in football games. Yeah.
Bad.
My theory is that they are this is all a smokescreen, and they're going to trade down out of number 1 to the Raiders, who are going to give them a shit ton of picks to move up to take Kyler Murray.
That makes sense.
Now, the Cardinals generally aren't that smart, but that would make a lot of sense. Chief, why don't you take over for a minute here? I had asked if you could sort of tee up a NFL free agency recap. There were several players who changed teams that are impacting the TFFL keeper landscape.
Yeah, there's a few. So I was just had a pen and paper before we started here. So I'll start from like least impactful to most impactful of the subset here. So I think the first one we talk about is Antonio Brown, going from obviously the Steelers with a dynamic offense now to the Raiders. Raiders had Amari Cooper there for half of last season. Couldn't quite do anything with him. We think there's something wrong with Amari Cooper. Well, he goes to Dallas with Dak Prescott, of all people, throwing to him, and he has a monster, last 2 months of the season. Is the Raiders' offense going to help Antonio Brown score points? I don't know. I mean, as far as TFFL impact, I can't imagine the Hams aren't going to keep him or they're going to trade him. But I think he's not really your number one fantasy receiver anymore, playing for Oakland. Now on the other side of that is you have Juju Smith-Schuster. Just he's probably in top 5 fantasy receivers right now, just by virtue of Antonio not being there anymore. So you want to throw quick thoughts? You want me to keep going? How do you want to work this? By the way, I don't know if you can see this. I kind of drank for the occasion tonight. This is Wicked Weed Brewery out of Asheville, North Carolina. Lieutenant Dank India Pale Ale.
I like it.
Nice.
Already. Don't even need to try.
I'll have to stop by Asheville on the way to the draft.
Very nice. Well, why don't you run through all the free agents and then we'll comment?
Sure. And another one that is more notable for his production than maybe his TFL teams would be Odell Beckham now going. I guess it wasn't a free agent, but it was a trade. I think that's what you're looking for, guys moving teams. So Odell Beckham goes from the Giants to the Browns. Irvin, last person out of New York, turn off the lights because right now it's Saquon Barkley, the ghost of Eli Manning, and some buffoon of a general manager nailing things down over there. I'm not going to imagine Giants management just puzzles me in general. How you're going to stick by Eli but trade out all his weapons, for no good reason. So again, there's a situation where the Lizards, and Lizards aren't going to trade him or get rid of him any more likely now than they were before, perhaps. You can make the argument that Odell Beckham is in a better place now and that he'll be more productive with Baker Mayfield than Eli Manning. Frankly, that's not too big of a leap right now. There is probably a few more mouths to feed in Cleveland. But I think they'll probably be throwing the ball more anyhow. Moving on to things that are a little bit more impactful or are going to affect keeper lists and the draft, perhaps. Let's look at a recent one, a trade with can't think of his first name. Howard going from the Bears to the Eagles.
Yep.
So Jeremy Howard?
Jordan.
Sounds right.
Jay Howard.
I feel like Freddie. I feel like Freddie all of a sudden.
Mr. Howard.
Mr. J. Howard from Chicago. Philadelphia. Now we have some action here because the Lizards. Again, the Lizards are, as they have been the last 3 or 4 years, wide receiver heavy, running back light, and now they have their guy who, he was definitely the first and second down guy in Chicago, the short yardage guy, the touchdown guy. Is he going to still be that in Philadelphia? You would think the Eagles traded for him for a reason. So your instinct would say, well, yeah. Now I think it does is it opens up Tariq Cohen, and he's probably a keeper anyway for the Fats. But I think he's a no doubt keeper right now for the Fats. I know Chicago picked up Mike Davis, but Mike Davis is going into his 5th year on his 3rd different team. I think we know who Mike Davis is right now, and it's not a Jordan Howard replacement. So I think that Chicago.
And he only has one testicle.
I think that the Chicago looks like their offense might be going to a more, dynamic, more of your screens, throwing on first down, your quick draws with Cohen. The other way this hits Fats now is Corey Clement being on their team. We don't know what the Jay Ajayi situation is. I don't expect him back in Philadelphia. Maybe Rob was leaning towards considering Clement a keeper. Now, maybe not. Going forward, I think one of the best moves on the NFL side of things was Mark Ingram going to the Ravens. I think right now, I understand that the Pack has a pretty good running back core, perhaps not as bulletproof as we once thought. But I think Mark Ingram has to be a keeper at this point, or a heck of a good trading chip between now and the draft. If they got rid of Alex Collins after he ran into a little bit of trouble. It looked like Gus Edwards was pretty good. They had a good run from last year. Now we have the Senators, who we're probably looking forward to keeping Gus Edwards. It was now, pretty much useless for them, with barring an injury to Ingram between now and opening day. Finally, and I throw this in here because it touches a lot of teams, was Tevin Coleman going to the 49ers. And Stick hit at this a little bit in his email. So let's see what we have now. We have a very crowded San Francisco backfield, which John Lynch says he's keeping, and Brian Schottenheimer says he can use. So not Kyle Shanahan. There's one of those nepotism guys. So Kyle Shanahan says he can use him. So where does he slide in? Where does Tevin Coleman slot into the 49ers offense? I think Breida is going to be their number one guy, but I definitely think this is going to be more of a timeshare, maybe a 2/3, 1/3 kind of thing between him and Coleman. I don't see much here for Jerick McKinnon. They say they're going to keep him. I don't know why. He seems to pull a muscle every time he laces up his cleats. That keeps him out 3 or 4 games. He's never had a season in Minnesota with a better team, with a better offensive line, better weapons than a hurt Breida had last year in the 49ers. I don't know how you stick Jerick McKinnon back in there. For the first month of the season, Breida was the leading rusher in the NFL. He finished with a pretty good season. You add the contract to that, and it seems like, why keep this guy? So, how that falls out is going to obviously impact the AMPAC, who I don't think are going to be keeping McKinnon now with the emergence of Ingram. The Hams, so I don't have keeping Coleman, but I noticed you do on your keeper list. Breida is a keeper for me either way because my keeper list is not as strong as it needs to be right now. But then we have a possibility here with the Aliens and the Giant Killers as it involves the team that Coleman is leaving. So now we have he's been injured a little bit, but now does Devontae Freeman go into a full-time role, or does Ito Smith kind of play that number 1A running back? He did pretty well in some opportunities last year. Freeman has not been the most durable guy. I don't know if they want to give him 300 touches a year. So I think that, depending on how things go in minicamp, training camp, preseason, I think the Giant Killers might have albeit weak, number 7 keeper type, Ito Smith, if he can come in and do Coleman's old role from the previous 3 or 4 years. Full stop. I need a drink.
All right.
Nice work.
That was a lot, Chief. Well done.
Good work. Listen, I love the preparation on April 3rd. Great job.
And Ito Smith is not a keeper. He can't be a keeper.
Yeah. Ito Smith.
Smith, honestly, that was just a capper.
Yeah. Not that good last year. Maybe this is just optimism for me, but the Falcons at this point ought to wear Devontae Freeman into the ground, give him 300, because he does not have a lot of years left. But I think he's primed for a big season this year if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm. Big takeaway. I agree with Chief on the Mark Ingram thing. I mean, that is going to Baltimore, I think, is a big opportunity for him. He's going to get the ball in the end zone. I think it deflates Gus Edwards' value. I agree with that. I think that's a big one. And then the other thing about the Giants, man, that they're going to be bad. And that is not a good sign for Saquon. So you should probably trade him, Phil.
Yep. Yeah. He's on the block, of course, because who wouldn't?
I give you the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. No, Saquon Barkley will not be traded.
Number 1 overall pick.
No, I don't know. There's nobody in the draft that I want more than Saquon. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Number 1 and number 2 overall, and the first round pick in the second round.
No, we're not going to do this because I don't want to waste everybody's time.
From the guy who just spent a half hour killing the next draft.
Killing the draft. You told me.
Good job.
The draft. There's nobody good here.
Except number one.
It's interesting what you're talking about with Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon, and that those guys both look the part of some players who could be good fantasy players for several years, and now they're both find themselves in situations where it's not cut and dry. And then the movement of the receivers, you're right. The Browns all of a sudden are going to be maybe good. Are the Browns going to be good this year? And the Raiders, you never know, man. Gruden's there. Derek Carr will throw it all day long. Never know about Antonio Brown and Amari Cooper, and who knows?
The Browns, I think, will still find a way to lose this year.
They're the Browns.
Next year they might be troublesome.
Chief, I fear you're a little, just as I was with Devontae Freeman, maybe a little too optimistic about Matt Breida. And I think it really does come down to whether they keep McKinnon or not. But I can imagine them keeping McKinnon on the PUP list for 6 weeks, knowing that running backs get injured. Breida was banged up here and there last year. McKinnon obviously was injured. Coleman's not quite an every down back. So you keep all three of those guys. And then the concern is none of them really have strong fantasy value. And that's kind of what I see right now. Breida's never going to be a guy who's going to score a lot of touchdowns, I don't think. Maybe McKinnon becomes the goal line back. I think that's just a tough situation out there. The Coleman signing was kind of baffling. They didn't need him.
Either that or they want to shed McKinnon. I feel like that carrying both those guys is sort of redundant, and maybe they're waiting for an injury to happen when somebody will overpay for McKinnon. Who knows? Not
on his contract. I don't know.
Bad contract.
Yeah. All right, let's. We're going to be pushing an hour here soon enough, but I want to go through the projected keepers as fast as we can. When Hank sends out the link for the webcast, hopefully he can include the projected keepers as well. It's early. There's plenty of ways you could quibble with my list if you want, but let me go through a quick lightning round of questions to keep things moving here. Somebody mentioned the Lizards, and they've always been wide receiver heavy these last. It's a great receiver core. We're talking about Odell Beckham. We're talking about Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, and I'm missing some other stud. Who do we got here?
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. How do you get him? Are they going to keep all four of those guys again, or do you foresee them at this point trying to trade one of them to improve their running back core? Related question here. Are the Lizards a team that keeps 0 quarterbacks, dropping Roethlisberger, dropping Cam Newton, and instead maybe keeping all 4 receivers and keeping Kareem Hunt as the third running back?
Ooh.
I think
you can't keep Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt's in jail, isn't he, or something?
No,
you can't keep Kareem Hunt.
He got no one's keeping him.
His 8-game suspension, I think, is too much.
All right.
Mm-hmm. He keeps the 4 receivers. Those are all good guys, and I don't think he'd get the value he'd want for one of them. The quarterback would be where it would go. I mean, Cam and Ben are both guys at this point. So if you really want to keep Njoku or somebody else.
Doesn't Cam have a bum shoulder right now?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's likely that he doesn't keep a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, it is rare, I suspect, that a guy who scores 13 touchdowns in a season is not a keeper the following year, except for injury or retirement reasons or something. Eric Ebron, 13 touchdowns in 2018. Number 2 tight end for the Boba Fats, though, behind Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
The Fats aren't going to keep him. Can he do it again? This doesn't need to be a long debate about Eric Ebron, but is he somebody people should be trading for as a keeper?
Maybe, but he had, I think, 65, 66 catches. So he's catching a touchdown every 5 receptions.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable. I don't.
It's a fluky season.
Yeah.
He'll have half that.
All right. Real quick lightning round. I want everybody's answer on this, but it can be really quick. Amsterdam Packers, 2 quarterbacks on the roster that are keeper-worthy potentially. Long-time keeper Russell Wilson. Matt Ryan, who I think became really the impact starter throughout much of last season. Which guy do you project as their keeper, Wilson or Ryan?
Neither.
Ryan.
I think Ralph loves Wilson. But I was doing some early prep work for the draft yesterday. Do you know that Matt Ryan was the TFFL's second highest scoring quarterback last year?
Surprises me a little bit, but yeah, he was Ralph's quarterback toward the end of last year. Ralph does love Russell Wilson. That's what makes this a tough call, but I've got it as Matt Ryan as well.
Yep.
Okay, Sponge, you're on the hot seat here. We've talked about this before, but it's going to be a big topic. You've got two great young quarterbacks, Luck and Mayfield. Your running back core, I don't mean to be mean, but it is in shambles. Jay Ajayi doesn't have a team.
It's unsettled. Sure.
Yeah. Are you anticipating? Are you already finding any sort of market for those quarterbacks?
There's a market. There's a market. You can look at the keeper list here. You can tell me what teams are in the market, and one other team that you wouldn't suspect is looking to move on. So there's a market out there for Mayfield, especially.
Mm-hmm. What are the odds you trade one of those guys? 100%?
Probably 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to say 100, but
trade takes two partners.
Yeah. So and I'd be willing to trade Luck too. I think that the feeling out there is that I'd be looking for more for Luck, and that's true. But people seem to be zeroing in on Mayfield. So hopefully I'll trade him. But if I don't find a deal to my liking, I'm comfortable given the rest of my roster keeping them.
Yeah, as you should.
I just hope I don't. I hope I improve my roster.
I've already been getting texts from Michael Giovenco, and there's a big question with the Hormel Hams. They've got a ton of keeper-worthy talent. It's an impressive roster. Who's the odd running back out in this backfield? I'll tell you what the options are here. They've got David Johnson. They've got Tevin Coleman, as we've been talking about. Chris Carson in Seattle. Sony Michel in New England. That's four right there. Damian Williams in Kansas City, I think, is the fifth one. Let's assume they keep four of those guys. Who's the odd man out?
Well, can I also say, first of all, that this is the reason why we wait till after the draft to trade running backs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's five running backs right there, which we have no idea whether some team two of those could be eliminated in 3 weeks.
Well, in this case, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. David Johnson is probably not getting any real competition in Arizona. You try to argue if you want, but Tevin Coleman, we know what his situation is. They're not getting. There's going to be no new running back added to San Francisco, presumably. Chris Carson in Seattle, we know what their situation is. They've got Rashad Penny as his competition. They're not going to draft another running back. Sony Michel was a first-round running back for New England last year. They're probably not drafting another running back high. So
it still doesn't. It still says you wait. It doesn't matter.
You're not helping me here. I'm asking a question.
No, I'm not helping you. I'm saying it. I'm saying you don't trade before the draft.
I'm going to go ahead and say, in the spirit of the question, Stick.
Thanks.
That assuming Kansas City doesn't make a move, I think you keep Damian Williams at Tevin Coleman's expense. If Kansas City doesn't do anything else.
I agree wholeheartedly with Chief's comment.
Wow. And you got to trade Tevin Coleman then. But
I agree with half that.
With Thornburg's, you don't make a trade before the draft when he's the one who just traded Lamar Miller this week.
I think he might go to acquire one.
Come on, man. You
don't trade four before the draft.
TFFL for TFFL purposes. There's no rookies. There's only 3. But everybody else go to sleep. And don't ever trade before the draft. Dude, get an F as a panelist tonight.
Terry, you wanted to jump.
I'm sensing a spin-off webcast. Phil and Bill show, just yelling at each other for an hour.
You get an F as a panelist tonight is the best line of the evening. That's my favorite part.
Terry, did you have something else?
Yes. I think I agree. I think Michael loves the Kansas City quick strike offense. So Williams stays. I think he tries to trade, or the odd man out is Carson.
Carson. Okay. I suspected, and hopefully we'll hear from Michael himself in a reply, but I have suspected that Damian Williams is getting a lot more love out there than I'm giving him. I'm a little dubious. We're talking about a CJ Anderson 4-game run at the end, if that 3 games. They've signed Carlos Hyde. I know I've got some bias there. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for a ton of time. I just don't see Damian Williams being the stud running back we saw for 3 games last year, doing that for 16. He's intriguing. I just don't think he's the slam dunk keeper that Michael might make him out to be, that some of you guys are making him out to be. I think Hank was the one who agreed with me on that.
I agree with you completely on that. I think Damian Williams is overhyped, but I mean, who knows? He had a great run in the playoffs. The running back world is thin out there, as we've been discussing all night. So somebody's going to probably keep him.
Yeah. Which could propel one of the number 2 or the number 3 back. I mean, say the Chiefs take somebody early in the second round or somebody that could easily jump over whoever.
Right. That could make Williams less fat. Yeah, sure. Hey, I don't have a question here, but if you haven't already, take a look at the Devils' suddenly stacked keeper. I mean, I think last year at this time we were probably looking at him, thinking there's 4 open keeper spots on that roster. Nick has done a very nice job here, a Senators-esque kind of turnaround in one season. Rashad Penny, Philip Lindsay, George Kittle, Calvin Ridley, all acquisitions last year.
James Conner is going to be in a timeshare this year, though.
Mm-hmm. Nick did great. He had a great draft last year. I'm guessing that Philip Lindsay was not somebody on Thornburg's draft board last year. Because he's a guy that
my draft board. How about Mel Kiper's draft board? I mean, come on.
I'm just saying, you're the guy we turned to for TFFL excellent, and having the name Philip Lindsay would have been nice last year.
Listen, I apologize to you specifically, Phil, for not mentioning Phil Lindsay last year.
You for analysis and insight and research, and you missed Philip Lindsay.
Oh, I apologize, Phil. I work so hard at this that sometimes things slip through the couch.
All right, don't let it happen again.
This goes back to directly the conversation we had about GM of the year, right? Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. All right.
When we talked about the Devils, look at this. This is good.
They did a great job.
Pretty goddamn good.
You can make the case they don't go with a quarterback.
Sure, I agree with that too.
If
you're right. James White.
Who are they going to keep?
If they're cutting James White and Adrian Peterson.
You think James White and Adrian Peterson are worthy?
Number 7 keepers.
Derek Carr now has Antonio Brown.
Why is that relevant?
Because he has Derek Carr.
He also has Kirk Cousins, too.
Cousins is the presumed keeper there. But, yeah, he's got Adrian Peterson, James White. I also have Cortland Sutton.
I wrote down Williams, too. Does he have a Williams on his team?
All right, let me give you guys a trivia answer, and we can start wrapping up here before we hit an hour. I'm looking for the 2 TFFL franchises that have never, ever had the best regular season record in a TFFL.
I like my odds on this one. Looking at everybody else's.
All right, the Sponge Fishermen are one of those teams. The Hormel Hams.
What?
When did the Mongols win?
The Mongols were our very first modern era.
Even Terry guessed.
Very first.
Wow, Terry, you screwed that up too.
Yeah, I guessed myself.
Which year?
97. When you won the Pac Bowl title, Terry was the.
I lost to Hank in
Marley Trophy winner.
Probably and invented the name Marley Trophy also.
Oh, we did. The Marley Trophy was thought of long and hard.
I think that was a Ralph invention. So there you go. The Hams, a surprising team on that list.
I got 3.
All right. So what? Each one is worth 3.
Yep.
Okay. So Hank got 3. TR
3.
Berto
3.
Chief
3.
Guest
0.
Okay.
Bill gets an F.
We're all tied at 3. No blood.
Okay.
Very good.
Good start.
All right, good start to the year. I've started a new sheet. I just looked. I do not have us as having a 2019 webcast already done.
I think our last one was in end of December. I want.
It might have been, yeah.
December 27th or something like that.
Yes, sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's wrap up here. Our next webcast, our second webcast then of 2019, will probably come right after the NFL draft, some point presumably in maybe even late April, maybe later this month, or sometime early in May.
After the draft.
Post-draft, yes.
It was good to have this tonight. Stretch our legs a little bit. Get
Yep.
Get the sea legs back. Do a webcast. I like it. Good work, Stick.
And I don't know if my wife can hear me, but she had a she has a an exclusive Martellus Bennett story. Let me see if I can wrap up with this real quick.
Martellus Bennett.
Interesting.
He's just not Martavis Bryant.
It's better than a
True.
Robert Kraft story.
That's rough.
So Amanda, she's coming. She got a chance to interview Martellus Bennett recently.
Mm-hmm.
A piece actually in the Washington Post magazine. I'm not going to do it justice, but on bookshelves, on keeping your book collection.
Are you doing my intro?
I'm not. I've teed it up.
Oh, how was that? Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
I got new glasses today, so I'm looking extra smart. Okay.
Nice.
So I'm doing a story that was based on Marie Kondo telling everybody they should get rid of everything that matters. But really, she didn't say that. But then the internet went nuts because that's what it does. And everybody's like, we don't want to get rid of our books. Stop it. Anyways, so Robert's like telling me to go faster. He's like the annoying orchestra at the Oscars. Anyway, so I got to interview a bunch of athletes, and my best little assistant editor back here suggested I interview Kevin Durant. But they said no, and I don't really know why, even though he has a literacy center, probably because he was in the middle of the season. But then we found a story about Martellus Bennett on CNBC because his biggest splurge, I'm losing, Chief. His biggest splurge was books. He spent $3,000 on books, and he said he wanted to be, I know, and he said his quote was on this CNBC thing that he wanted to be like Belle in Beauty and the Beast. He wanted to have a library that big. So we were hoping like that was legit. I mean, who spends $3,000 on books if he doesn't really like them? So I got to interview him about his book collection, and it was amazing. And he's going to be on the cover of the Washington Post magazine April 14th and his books. And it happened on the very same day. My interview with him happened on the same day on the phone where he had tweeted something of him like, I'm ready to come back. And so his PR person was getting all this shit about, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back? And so she was happy to talk to me about his books. And of course, he's not going to come back because he smokes weed every day and puts it on Instagram. So
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
for him.
better than okay. It's just he's going to get tested. So
Nice.
So
Good job.
He knows exactly when he's going to get tested.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they tell him.
There was actually a headline on ESPN about Adam Schefter tweeting that Martellus Bennett may join the Patriots after Michael Bennett got there. And we knew, we were like, that's not going to happen.
No. Also, Michael Bennett today was
At least not now.
cleared of those stupid freaking charges about elderly abuse. So it's just stupid. Okay, anyways, that's all.
All right. There's a story to wrap up.
That was a little color.
Anybody else? Any rants or stories?
Hi, Amanda.
All right.
Okay.
Very nice.
That might have taken us over the hour, but nice first webcast out of the gate. I will look forward to the NFL draft and all the texts I'll be getting from Bill that evening, I'm sure.
And if I may make sure if you have any comments remaining before the official ballot goes out, I'm going to try to get it done by Saturday at noon. I think we have those 5 measures on there. If you have any comments, want to add one more, I will then turn them into actual ballot measures and get it out hopefully by Sunday.
Do you want more comments, Bill? I got
not
comments.
particularly, no.
I think Phil and Bill should have the after hours on the webcast.
Yeah, Thornburg and I doing the point counterpoint on the wrap-up show.
Watch what happens.
Tell you ignorant slut.
Yes.
Terry, good luck in the TFBA.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck to
He
you.
doesn't
as
look
well.
like he needs much luck.
Yeah, I could use it. All right, guys. Good to see you. We'll be back after the NFL draft in a few weeks. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.
That's it.
Bye, boys.